Now, I've seen plenty of anime, but I've never seen one that is a genuine love letter to the once gaming giant Sega, until now. Isekai Ojisan, or Uncle from Another World, is that series, which unapologetically lets their viewers know if you're not about Sonic the Hedgehog, then you can get right on out, and I love it. It has plenty of corny jokes, quirky characters, and all the Sega deep cuts you can ask for. Sega fans, if you're still on the flailing company's bandwagon, or even if you're not, then let me tell you why Isekai Ojisan should be your next anime. So how would you feel after waking up from a 17-year sleep and the last thing you remember was perusing pets.com to buy food for your Doberman on your brand new Windows 98 desktop? That's the premise of Isekai Ojisan. Now, let me paint the picture for you. The year is 2017 and Takafumi Takaoka picks up his uncle who recently awakened from a 17-year coma after being hit by none other than, say it with me, Truck-kun! It's not long before we learn three important things about Uncle. 1. He spent those 17 years in a magical world. 2. He absolutely loves everything Sega. 3. He is ugly. Just look at him. It's a face not even a mother could love, and life wasn't easy for him in that other world. Often being called Nork and teased relentlessly, it was so bad that he would erase his own memories just to stay sane by saying the magic words, Icarus Quora. Maybe I should try this. Icarus Quora! We also learned just how much of a Sega fan Uncle is, and if you've played those games, especially ones from the 1990s, then you truly understand that Uncle is Sega! One of the very first things he does back in the real world is check the final publication of the Sega Saturn Reader's Choice magazine, and when he finds out his favorite game, Guardian Heroes, was ranked dead last, he goes on a minutes-long rant on why this is such a travesty. While most people will just say, WTF, the retro gamers who actually played this game, and no, I'm not one of them, will not only appreciate this sentiment, but are probably fist pumping in the air as we speak. Uncle loves to show off his extensive Sega knowledge and strategies he developed from playing games like Puyo Puyo and Alien Soldier. These moments even helped him escape several dangerous situations and defeat some of the baddest monsters in that other realm, like this guy. There are so many obscure references throughout the series, like the time when Uncle contemplated buying a Game Gear TV tuner as a gift for his nephew, which nowadays is as useful as a rock, but heck, I didn't even know that was a thing. Isekai Ojisan's story is a simple one. A man from a past generation attempting to adjust to life in this newer, more advanced civilization, and it's hilarious seeing him try. He struggles to use platforms like eBay and YouTube, and apparently old habits die hard because there are just some things he can't let go of, like 2G. This series is generally a slice of life, but contains elements of the reverse isekai genre, and what I like most about Ojisan is the unique storytelling. We already see how our bumbling protagonist is interacting back in the real world, which isn't great, but what about the other world? Through his unique spell, Icarus Elrond, we learn more and more about what he actually did in that other world. Takafumi and Sumika, his childhood friend, are astonished by the things that he accomplished, for better or for worse. It's like watching a pathetic soap opera, but I can guarantee you'll stay hooked and want to know what happens next. The timely jokes are also what I appreciate, because they come at you hard and fast, like bam, bam, thank you ma'am. Now, if you've seen Way of the House Husband, then you will get the comedic pacing I'm referring to, but don't feel discouraged by this show's super specific jokes, because there are several topical jokes surrounding our technology-ridden world that you will get. You'll even find references from anime that the standard otaku will understand. The series is episodic and generally gives off a sitcom-y feel, but it may not necessarily feel like it because of how much is thrown at you all at once. Isekai Ojisan unfortunately does have its share of fan service, as we see him unknowingly get into slightly risque situations with girls of the other world like Tsundere Elf and Mabel. It's the obvious obliviousness of Uncle when it comes to reading women who surprisingly show some romantic interest in him that causes these moments, and while it can get pretty annoying, it's not overwhelming. Besides, the tone is quite tame and just a prop for quick laughs. Each episode keeps you invested because you'll wonder what crazy situations Uncle will get into, while simultaneously learning what strange moments he went through in that other world. Now, most of the characters in the series don't really matter except Uncle, and that's honestly fine by me. He is so incredibly strange that it makes sense he would take all the oxygen in the room. I, for one, really want to know how he had the time to play so much dang Sega. The two love interests, Tsundere Elf and Mabel, and yes, I'm using air quotes, do get significant screen time, but it feels like a tool to further their relationships with Uncle. It seems as we learn more about the fantasy world, we will get more of those two and that quirky party he runs with, which is not a bad thing. Takafumi and Sumika even had their own mini-arcs, but don't amount to much right now, and it's honestly too early to know or care how it shapes out unless we get another season. The music is as fitting as I've seen for an anime because the OP is a genuine love letter to Sega and retro gaming in general. I find myself rocking to the EDM-inspired track of Mayu Mishima's story, and the 8-bit art direction is just so pleasant to see. There are so many Easter eggs in this opening that you're essentially playing Where's Waldo with gaming references. Oh, there's Castlevania! Oh, digital dance mix! Now that's a deep cut. The OP is just another extension of the entire series, and I adore how silly and unapologetically dweeby it is. The world building here is no different than your standard isekai, except everything is just turned to 11. From the characters to the monsters, you'll enjoy every moment we get to see them in that other world, and you will learn how much Uncle was fit for it. You can tell that Hotondo Shinderu, who created the manga this series is based on back in 2018, wanted to subvert the isekai genre by making something so insane that it just doesn't make sense. The animation is solid, and I think the characters' pencil-like shadows and colorful settings give it an attractive look. The 2D, 3D hybrid overall animation is also quite reminiscent of other shows that you can find on Netflix, which is where this series is housed, unsurprisingly. At the end of the day, just completing the first season of the series is a feat, given the troubles the studio who created this adaptation went through. Atelier Apundak started in 2020 and had only one other credit to their name, and unfortunately suffered several rough patches during production. A string of COVID-19 infections forced them to delay several episodes across multiple weeks-long hiatuses because they lacked the animation staff. The season finale finally aired in Japan in January 2023 and arrived on Netflix to the rest of the world just a few months later. As with most anime on Netflix, you can watch Isekai Ojisan in both subbed and dubbed, and in a variety of language, so everyone can enjoy it in their preferred format. Isekai Ojisan is a clever little anime that I couldn't recommend higher for you Sega gamers out there to check out. Honestly, even if you're not a retro gamer, you'll enjoy this one because throughout you'll laugh, you'll cry, and maybe you'll even hurl, but most of all, you'll appreciate just how genuinely quirky this show truly is. Now, if you got anything to say, I'd love to hear it and talk some more about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. You can send me an email, or you can find me on Twitter or Facebook. Oh, and one more thing. If you like what you're watching, feel free to subscribe by clicking that platypus to keep up with my latest videos. Thanks for watching, and stay nerdious.